The Washington Commanders fall to the Atlanta Falcons 34-27. We're going to be talking about the key takeaways from today's loss. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, just like Jaden Daniels is going to be hitting Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Zach Ertz, and many others for multiple touchdowns this season. And so in exchange for hitting that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Washington Commanders. And so make sure that you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Washington Commanders Insider family as we talk nothing but Washington Commanders football. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it as we are talking about the key takeaways from today's loss against the Atlanta Falcons. And so before we go ahead and we jump into the numbers, there are 3 points that stood out from this game. The first one being slow start. The Washington Commanders got off to a slow start and they really didn't get things going until the second quarter. The Atlanta Falcons got off to a great start and they really never looked back. And so I think that was the difference here in this game. Next, the Falcons got everything that they wanted on offense. They were able to run the ball when they needed to. They were able to pass the ball down the field, and they were able to get chunk plays. They were really able to keep the Commanders' defense off balance. They kept the Commanders' defense on the field and dominated with time of possession. And so the Falcons got everything that they wanted on offense. And then lastly, for the Commanders on offense, they are still looking for someone else to step up. And so we've been talking about this since training camp. We were talking about this going into this game, that somebody else was going to have to step up as a wide receiver for the Washington Commanders. And I think that this is something that they didn't have happen in this game. This is something that they're going to need to find out as the season goes along here today. And so, the Commanders still looking for a playmaker just outside of Terry McLaurin and then also to Deebo Samuel to step up here. And so now I wanted to go ahead and jump into just the numbers here, and starting off with the first number that kind of just stands out, and it is the third down efficiency here. And so just talking about the Falcons offense being able to get everything that they wanted, you see on third down, 6 of 12 with their third down efficiency today. They were 1 of 1 on fourth down. You see that the Commanders were 1 of 8. And so you just really are not going to win a lot of football games if you are not winning on the money down. We'll give them some credit here. They were 2 of 2 on their fourth down efficiency. One of those became a touchdown to Deebo Samuel. So a great thrown ball from Marcus Mariota to Deebo Samuel. And so that was good to see. And then next, talking about the Falcons offense, look at this, 435 to 294. And so, the Falcons offense, man, just able to get everything they wanted to. And Michael Penix Jr., man, he had a very good day today. And so came back after a tough game against the Panthers last week. 20 of 26, so he only missed on 6 passes today, 313 yards, 12 yards was his average, and so I believe that is a season high for him. 2 touchdowns. He did have an INT, and so a nice pick there from Mikey Sammerstill, and he only got sacked once, and he had a 90.3 QBR. And so it just seemed like Michael Penix Jr. was very comfortable throughout the day, and he was just able to find his playmakers down the field. And so you had Drake London, who had a very good day. And so, in fact, Drake London led them as far as their pass catchers today. And so 8 receptions, 110 yards, and then 13.8 was his average. He had a touchdown, and 43 was his longest. And then after that, you had Bijan Robinson. And so he was able to come in and make some plays as well as a wide receiver. So 4 receptions, 106 yards, had a big chunk play. So 69 was one of the plays that actually got him the vast majority of his yards. But still, he made plays out of the backfield as a pass catcher. And then also, too, Kyle Pitts. And so Kyle Pitts, he was able to get into the end zone just like Drake London, and he had a solid day, 5 receptions, 70 yards. And then when you look at his averages, 14, per catch there, and 1 touchdown, 26 was his longest. And so, again, just showing you the chunk plays that the Falcons were able to get on offense. And then next, just kind of shifting focus here and looking at the Commanders offense. Look, man, I mean, just starting with Marcus Mariota, it's not like he had a terrible day because he had the 2 touchdowns today. He did have an INT. He was going for it to Jalen Lane, and so it got picked off. But only 156 yards for him today, 2 sacks today, and then also he was able to pick up 20 yards on the ground. And so again, I think that Marcus Mariota was solid for the most part, but still, I think that the Commanders just really didn't get a chance to open up the offense like they wanted to. And then just speaking of just the wide receivers here for the Commanders, Deebo Samuel, look, he had a great day. He converted on a 4th down for a touchdown. It was a nice thrown ball from Marcus Mariota to him, and I thought that he did a great job as far as just really making plays, I think, throughout the game and just keeping the Commanders in it. So he had 6 receptions, 72 yards, 12 yards was his average. He had the 1 touchdown on 4th down, and that was 6 targets too. So 6 targets, 6 catches there. So didn't miss with him today. And then when you look at Luke McCaffrey, look, got to give him a ton of credit too today, because Luke McCaffrey, he came in off his first career touchdown last week. He got another touchdown today. He also had a very good return in the return game. And so I think that maybe, Luke McCaffrey, perhaps, he's going to carry off of this momentum that he's had the last 2 weeks. Maybe he's the guy that's going to step up. But as far as the volume for him today as a wide receiver, just 2 catches today for 21 yards, and he had the touchdown. Zach Ertz, just 2 catches, 21 yards on 4 targets. And so I thought that we would see some more from Zach Ertz. Didn't necessarily see it from him. Jalen Lane, 2 catches, 18 yards off 3 targets for him, and Tay Martin, 1 reception for 14 yards. And so, again, the wide receivers here going to have to step it up for the Washington Commanders. And then lastly, when you look at just the running game here, and so I thought that it got off to a great start, for the Commanders as far as running the football. Chris Rodriguez Jr. had a very nice game to really kind of get things going. 48 yards was his longest. He finished with 7 carries for 59 yards, and so he led the backfield. 8.4 was the average. Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, I thought that he came in and gave us a little bit of juice as well. 7 carries for 47 yards, 6.7 the average there for him. Talked about Marcus Mariota. He had a nice game on one of his carries as well. But besides that, man, we just really didn't get enough in the running game. And so I know the Commanders, when you look at the numbers here, actually led in this game 147 to 128. But they were kept out of the end zone. And the Atlanta Falcons, they had 2 backs that were able to score. And so, I think that was a difference here. And also, too, I just think that the Commanders, when they're rolling on offense and they're like running the ball well, they're into that 200 plus. And so we've seen that with the wins. We didn't see that today. And so perhaps that could have been a factor. I think that maybe, they wanted to maybe get to some more of the run. But again, when you get off to the slow start like you did, it forces you into passing the football. And that just really hasn't been the strength here for the Washington Commanders. And then I forgot to talk about the defense. And so I'll talk about that lastly before we jump out of here. And so, the defense for the Washington Commanders, they just got worn out today, especially, when you look at the final drive for the Falcons. They took up a ton of time on the clock, and the time of possession today, 34-15 for the Falcons to the 25-45, for the Commanders. And so, again, the Commanders just didn't stay on the field enough. Got to give the Commanders credit for getting their first turnover. A nice interception here from Mikey Sainristil. I believe that led to a field goal. You would have liked to see a touchdown come out of that. And then just defensively today, just didn't get as many sacks, I'm sure, as they wanted to today. As far as stopping the run, you do have to give the Commanders some credit here. I think overall, the Falcons only a 3.5 average, and so not bad there. And they were able to keep their totals down to where they just didn't completely dominate there. But still, I think that they were able to run the ball good enough to just stay on balance here. And so just not as disruptive as we would like the defense to be. And so other than that, just giving up some big chunk plays in the back half of the defense. I think that Marshawn Lattimore struggled. And I just think that just across the board, the secondary struggled. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments here what your key takeaways are from today's loss against the Atlanta Falcons. And so I'll say this, the Commanders, they're 2-2. They're still right in this thing. You're going to get Jaden Daniels back. And I just think that they're still trying to find their identity on offense here. You're going to have to get somebody, or you need somebody else to step up as a wide receiver. I think that you have a formula here with running the football, and so they can't get away from that. And so, to be able to run the football like you'd like to, you need to get off to some better starts here. And so let's see what the Commanders can do from there. And then also, too, in the games that the Commanders have lost, the secondary, it's been awfully leaky here. And so this is something that they've got to figure out. So you guys let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking as the Commanders fall to the Atlanta Falcons 34-27. We'll be talking a little bit more about some more key takeaways from this game here tomorrow. So anyway, go Commanders. I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.